it. That's neat.
Oh yeah. Oh, slipped right from my hand. Hey, is on a river, wish on Jack, match, dead man, whisper on a screen, doesn't change a thing, don't break me back. Blue on black, yeah. I see truth lies and in between. Be undone. Oh, slipped from the tip of my tongue. Hey,
Hey guys, Reagan with Texas Defense Articulations, back with some 1911 content. Again, apparently it's what I'm known for, so I'm going to just ride this horse as long as I can. So I wanted to talk about one of the guns in my collection that's definitely one of my favorite. We'll call it Unobtainium, as you can't get these guns anymore. So this is the Springfield Professional. It originally started as the FBI gun back in the day, 80s or 90s, I can't remember. The FBI put out a contract like, hey, we need 1911 for our HRT teams. And so it was, of course, 45 ACP, all the other, like this list of stuff that had to happen. And Springfield was one of the companies that put their hat into the ring to be able to fulfill this contract. And so when it all came down, I want to say there was 3 companies that put their hat in the ring. Springfield came out on top and did absolutely fantastic. And then they started making these for civilians also. Now, when I say that this specific gun was actually made by the Springfield custom shop, right? And so when I say this is unobtainium and you can't get them anymore, is because the Springfield custom shop is now closed and you cannot get them anymore, other than buying a model that someone else has. So a few years ago, you know, I've had my TRP, I've shot tons and tons of rounds through it. I have a backup TRP, and I was like, man, I really want a 9mm. 1911, but the problem with the 9mm 1911 is that the gun is designed from the ground up to shoot 45 ACP. Therefore, it is more accurate, easier to be made more accurate, and it is more reliable in 45 ACP than it is 9mm. It's just not designed to be a 9mm gun. It doesn't mean you can't get a good one, but you probably got to pay to play. I've had quite a few that would shoot okay, weren't super accurate, and then I've had a few that were super accurate that actually just weren't all that reliable. And so I decided to just skip all that, and I found one of these on Gunbroker. I only paid $2,800 for this particular one. Now this was a few years ago, and the retail on them was $34.95 or something very close to that. And so I definitely got out, made out like a bandit on that, and so I was happy about that. As soon as I got it, immediately started shooting it, didn't cut it any slack, grease it up with Slip 2000 Extreme Weapons grease and oil, and just shot the bejesus out of it. So at the moment, I've got between 25 and 35,000 rounds on this particular gun, which, yeah, is not anywhere near as much as my TRP or anything like that. And that's because I shoot my TRP more than I shoot any of my other pistols. But this one, especially when 45 got scarce or I just needed to save some money for a little bit, I would just shoot this 9mm version. I have carried this also. When it comes to the 9mm 1911, specifically 1911, not necessarily 2011, but 1911, I tend to shy away from carrying that. But again, it's just more reliable in the 45 ACP. It's not that 45 is a death ray or anything like that, but it does tend to be a little more reliable, especially with dirt and sand and sweat and anything else that can get into the gun. 45 more reliable because it has that 18.5-pound spring that's shutting that whole system up. Whereas this has closer to a 9-pound spring, it doesn't quite have that ass to slide all the way forward when the gun's all dirty. So one of the distinct differences between this, just visual that you can see, is that this has no forward cocking serrations. It has the Springfield Custom Shop logo right here on the front, but there's no cocking serrations to cover it up. With 45 ACP, I definitely like the forward cocking serrations. With 9mm, it does not make a difference for me, simply because you know, there's just not a whole lot of spring holding the gun shut, so I don't need that extra grip. So with gloves, sweaty, nasty, sandy, all that, I'm able to get the gun to work just fine like that. So if you end up finding another operator and it doesn't have this Springfield Custom Shop logo on it, it's not one of theirs. It's just somebody who's made a clone or something like that, so be careful with your money on that. One of the things they do different is there is no full-length guide rod in this. It just has a GI guide rod. And so you can do that little, Larry Vickers showed it, that pinch press check. I do not recommend that. Don't want any negligent discharges by putting my fingers into the trigger guard for no reason when I can just do it this way. That's perfectly fine. They also do not come cut for an optic. So I handed this over to my boys at Paladin Arms, where they put me some pretty good sights on here. I was able to file this down to get the 0 I wanted, and then also they sent it over to 903 Tactical to cut it for this plate so that I could run this EOTech, whatever, the E-Flex or whatever it is, which I've really enjoyed on here. Fantastic glass, unbelievably accurate, no parallax, that sort of thing. Really a big fan. The trigger on this thing breaks right at about 3.8 pounds each and every time. It's not crazy light, it's just stout enough to be a duty trigger, and I do enjoy it. It's extremely consistent. And I can even tell the difference between this and my TRP as far as where that gun, that trigger breaks. It's just a little bit better, which it ought to be for the price. So, man, if you guys can see, I did want to make sure I got an operator that has the rail on it, so that whenever they do these guns, they use the operator moniker or whatever and put it on there. So on the rail guns, it does say operator and not professional. It does say professional on the ones that do not have a rail for the most part. So the grips, I did, when I got it, it was used. I got it off Gunbroker, again, through GT Distributors. So some probably law enforcement officer had it, didn't shoot it. It looked brand spanking new when I got it, but he had some slick, very good looking Cocobolo grips on it. I don't think I ever shot it with them. Too slick for me, they were too pretty, so I pulled them off, sold them, and I put some VZ grips on here now. I tried some of the ones that are stock that came on the guns, but they still ended up just not doing it for me as far as the grippiness went. So I just put these VZs on here and been super happy with it ever since. I did throw these stainless slotted grip screws in there. You guys know I've broken off those star bits tons and tons of times. I don't want those anymore, so immediately pulled those out, tossed them, and put those in there. So, of course, like any super high-end gun, the front strap is checkered at 20 lines per inch. It's super aggressive, really love it, and it's also the same on the back. So this gun just stays in your hands super easily, which is great because this slide does not, the whole gun doesn't have much recoil at all because it's shooting that 9mm round. You don't even need like the full-length guy rod or the cone barrel or anything like that as weight on the end of the gun. It's already super easy to shoot. If you ever get a chance to put a light on the end of it, makes it even easier. These guns are super easy to shoot. You can shoot them really, really fast. As a matter of fact, like I know at least 2 of my old buddies I used to compete with, hat tip to Will Moore, who shoots 9mm single stack for competition. One of my old buddies from Austin PD. So anyway, love these guns. As far as concealed carrying it, yeah, I'd absolutely go ahead with this. Wouldn't be the case with all the other 9mm 1911s. There's some exceptions and that sort of thing, but this particular one, got no issues with it. I'd carry it right out. So think I already said that I've got about between 25 and 35,000 rounds through it. I did have one issue with the gun at one point, and that was this slide stop. Stopped locking to the rear on certain magazines. The Trip magazines, it would do it worse, but it would still do it with my Wilson Combat magazines. And so I eventually got tired of it, sent it into Springfield, and they took care of it, just a little bit of fitting to make that thing pop into place each time and lock that slide to the rear whenever that magazine's out of ammunition. So I think I've gone through all the stuff on this, and but if there's any other questions, you guys hit me up in the comments. And yeah, I love doing the 1911 stuff. Maybe I'll branch out a little bit later or something like that, but I'm gonna ride this one for a long time. If you don't like what I say, that's perfectly fine. You can vote with your dollars, go watch something else. But I do have millions of rounds of expertise through these guns, and so I'm going to continue to put content out on that. And if you don't like it, fantastic. I don't know what to do for you, but if there's nothing else,